it's good from you, to be able to be open-minded.
Well, I feel that the mind is like a parachute, and only works when it's open. And that's what I try to do: keep that open mind, and always kind of looking for new technology, new ways to help people.
Hi, it's Phil and Fred. Welcome to Modern Footprint, the podcast that is rethinking podiatry and shaping its future.
Hello, everybody. Today we have a chance to talk with Tony Abbott. He's a chiropodist from Ontario. He's been working with us for the past 14 months now. And Frederick is with me, and we'll discuss how was his journey. So, hello, Tony.
Hey, guys. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Tony. So, hey, we'll start right away. If you can a little bit explain us. First of all, a little bit where you're coming from, where your studies, your work in the last years or so, and how you managed to meet us and start working with us.
Well, I had my setup with my traditional lab. I had a great setup with those guys, great communication, great system. I thought I had we'll call it the perfect system, but I was still kind of looking for that 3D printed type orthotic. And suddenly one day, Johnny showed up in my office, and we had some discussions, and things kind of went from there.
And how long have you been practicing?
At this stage, 31 years.
Oh,
it was a big change for me.
How did how was it before us? With your lab, with your patient, and what made you? Well, you said about 3D printing, but how was the experience with your patient before that?
Well, again, I think I had a great system in place there. I'd worked with this lab for about 20 years. I didn't really have any complaints, but I would say the limitations would have been on that reproducing a second pair of orthotics that was exactly the same as the first pair. Or, saying if I wanted an extra deep heel cup on orthotics, sometimes I might get a 10 millimeter deep orthotic heel cup or 14 millimeter. So I had some issues with that. I did have one particular guy at the lab that was assigned. He was the only guy that did my orthotics. So it wasn't a huge issue, but reproducing the second pair was a challenge sometimes.
And what kind of orthotic were you prescribing at the time?
Well, the traditional full-length orthotic. So I was having people remove the insole from their shoes and replace it with the full orthotic. And in my mind, that was really the only type of orthotic.
Okay. How did your patient react when you started to say, all right, well, working with a new lab and I'm going to bring you maybe a little new approach? Did you find they were pretty much receptive, or did you have some challenge just convincing them to go try it, or how did it go?
Well, I would say for the most part, people were very excited with the technology.
Okay.
Clearly, we had some people that said, I've had these orthotics for 10 years. I just want another pair exactly the same, and I still do that. But I think a crucial part was just educating the people. And I think, with the help of the Cryos team, Phil, I trained the staff. So a lot of that education was done before I got into the room. And, there's obviously the people that needed to hear it directly from the doctor. So I still had to, we'll call it sell it or educate them on it.
So you started with the whole big orthotic and then very small orthotic without any top cover. Were you afraid of, losing your softness or your cushioning?
100%, yeah. Yeah. That was a big change for me, right? I would say if I did 5 pairs of 3/4 orthotics in a year, that would be a lot prior to Cryos.
Wow.
Okay.
I live in an area where, I guess I had the belief that, this is a casual recreational area. People only wear dress shoes when they, weddings, funerals. And, I was wrong. And I think part of recognizing that was important. And, I didn't know it all after 30 years.
That's pretty good that you were ready to challenge yourself to make the switch, because most people after all those years, when you've been doing, and like you say, you were not having really any problem in the sense that maybe besides those second pairs, but
Yeah.
you were doing good. But to jump in a new setup and to say to go for it, it's good from you, to be able to be open minded. And no, but really, a
Yeah.
lot of people, they stay in their comfort zone, and it's not easy sometimes to get out of there. And but doing it, it's good. It's
Well, I feel that the mind is like a parachute, and only
yeah.
works when it's open, and that's what I try to do: keep that open mind, and I'm always kind of looking for new technology, new ways to help people.
And how while we talk about the orthotic that the patient react fine, did you have the same improvement of your different pathology, even if they don't have any padding or if the orthotic is very small?
Yeah, and I think part of that improvement was just that they were able to wear the orthotics in more footwear, and they weren't just restricted to their running shoes or golf shoes or whatever. They were able to wear them in casual shoes that they wear to run to the grocery store and things like that. So I think overall the length of time that the patients were wearing the orthotics was increased. So I think there's improvement that way. But as for the padding, I was skeptical myself, not having the padding. Actually, funny story. When Johnny first came to my office, I insisted that two things. I did not want the orthotic with the heel split because I was sure I
All
was going
right.
to feel that, and I wanted a pair of orthotics that were full length to wear in my bike shoes.
There you go.
And Phil knows that I bike quite a bit, and I bike to work every day, pretty much. But to this day, those full length orthotics have not even been tried. I've been wearing just a 3/4 in my shoes, so
Well, that's
I'm a
good.
believer.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, that's great. And what were you using for casting before the 3D scanner? What type of were you using a scanner, or were you foaming, or what were you using at that point?
I'd used a sharp shape scanner for like 18, 20 years.
Okay, and how did you find the difference with the 3D cryo scan, about the difference using it and the results? And
I mean, I think the results are different, and just simply because it's a different style of orthotic. I
yeah,
think the technology is definitely impressive to the
yeah.
patient. They're wowed by the what they see on the screen after, and I show them that I can talk to it. It talks back to me saying the scan
Yeah.
was done.
Was it easy to get used to it? Did you find that you could, after the training that you got, then you jump right in, and was the learning curve was pretty fast?
Yeah, super simple.
Okay.
Yeah, just a few hours with Phil in the office, and I think it went well after that.
And you integrated to the posture analysis, the cryovision, in your clinic. So, what did that make a difference in the way you practice, or even the way you prescribe your orthotic, or the way you manage your patient?
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's different looking at the whole body, like take that whole body approach, realizing that, a 2-degree wedge at the heel in the past would make a big difference further up the chain, with the angle of the hips and stuff. So I would say some of the stuff that I would have done in the past, I'm now looking at the hips and not doing that. So I think overall that's got to help the patient.
And do you find a patient it's easier for a patient to understand what you're saying, what you're explaining?
Yeah, not everybody wants to see the scans and stuff, but there's a lot of people that are super excited to, they've never seen anything like that before, and I think that's impressive to them. And we have one lady in particular that, gosh, she must be 80 years old, but we've had, I'm sure, 6 or 7 people that, because Anne has them, they came in to get them.
Oh, that's cool. But I think
So
that's the one of the great thing about that tools, being able to show, and when patient realize what they say, it's a great, way to promote what you're doing, and to
yeah,
see the
yeah.
difference, so people can see the evolution. Oh, that's great. And do you find that are people can, like with the full length orthotics, you had full lengths for sports, you had different pair of orthotics. You find that people are really using their cross in all their shoes most of the time. You find that you
Yeah, I would say most of the time, like that's their main orthotic. Some
okay,
people that have multiple pairs of the traditional orthotics, the full length ones, they have them in their gardening shoes, their grass cutting shoes, things like that. Any of the main sports and golfing, pickleball, I have them using their Cryos orthotics now.
And compared to your other lab, do you need to do a lot of modification of the orthotic, or is it easy to do some when you need to?
I certainly do a lot less, and when I do them, they're super simple. Like in the past, I was gluing and grinding and adding a wedge here or taking some arch fill out. There's nothing like that with the naked cryos orthotics. So it's usually just heating it slightly in a certain way, and that simplifies that process.
Did it change your, I would say that your patient flow in a sense? When patient comes in, you find that you had to adapt to a new way patient coming in, taking the images, the scanning. It changed you're in your clinic day. Did you change the way you're scheduling everything, doing it? Or
There was some slight changes, but once we've kind of figured out how long each part took,
okay,
and then again going back to training the staff properly, uh, I'm not involved with the cryovision part of it. I just do the
yeah.
3D scanning, so my time is still pretty low. But it was just initially managing that time for the assistant to be able to get that patient in, get them processed, and ready for when I'm ready.
And well, it's been 16 years, 16 months now. So you have the occasion to follow up your patient with how they change for 6 or a year. Is that something you were doing before?
No, we were calling them back and having them in and just doing the regular stand on the orthotics and check the alignment of the heels and lower legs. But now we have that extra tool of showing what the difference was from when they initially got their orthotics to what they are now.
Yeah. And are the patients surprised to see that there's some changes with that small piece of plastic in their shoe?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Yeah, there's been definitely some real interesting cases that the patient's been wowed. It's nice to see.
It make a big difference from. I mean, now you're more in control of how they're changing instead of just giving them orthotic and is there a hole in it? Is the top cover need to be changed? I mean, with the cryos orthotic, it's pretty nice even after a year, even if after 3 years. But then again, they see how they change with the cryovision and even with the photo scan.
Mm-hmm.
So great.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's an objective way to evaluate what the effectiveness of the orthotics that I'm prescribing. So it's just another tool that helps me serve the patients better.
And how do you find the way you prescribe the orthotic, or how you manage that? Is that pretty easy? Is it the compared to before, the time to have the orthotic, the time to do prescription? How is that different?
In a way, it's a little bit similar in that I used to order all my orthotics online before. So again, that system worked well for me. But having the cryovision scans and all that in that one platform, I guess you call it, and you're just like going across 4 or 5 little steps. I don't know. It's very simple, very fast.
And is the time over that you have your orthotic pretty fast compared to the other lab?
The turnaround time, like to receive them back,
time.
yeah, it's a little bit faster than previous lab.
Do you find that patient? So are you scheduling your patient to come back? I know Phil was just asking when you see them back. Are you scheduling them every, let's say, kids every 6 months or adults every year to make sure that they come back? Is that now part of the way you're doing it? It's been 16 months, so it's not that long. But I mean, are people coming back to when you schedule them to have those images done?
Sometimes a lot of times they are. We have been finding that some of the 2 months, they're like, you know what, everything feels fine right now. I don't have time to come in, so we just push that back a little bit. But we keep them. We set that pending appointment for them, so we're keeping track of them all the time.
And what about the working with the different type of orthotics with the other professional around you, meaning physiotherapist, chiropractor, whatever, people seeing what you're doing now? Did you have some feedback or some patient coming back and say, I saw my physiotherapist, so what's going on with that? Orthotics is different. And did you have some feedback, either positive or negative? I mean, in a sense.
Well, I'd say a lot of it is negative in the sense that they look at it and they're like, this is not an orthotic. And they just don't, they don't have that education, that knowledge that, this is a newer way of doing it. So for practitioners like that, we try to provide that information to them,
Okay.
educate them that, hey, this is a product that works and it doesn't have to be this big bulky thing.
I always say it's like glasses. You can have big glasses or contact lenses. I mean, these both do the same thing, but doesn't have to be that big
Yeah, exactly.
limit.
Have you been? Do you see kids also in your clinic? Do you treat kids? You do some orthotics for kids too.
I
Have you
do.
been using the cryos with them and see the evolution of it?
Yeah, I see maybe 20% children at this point.
Okay.
So yeah, we give them the 2 pairs of orthotics as per Phil's recommendation. If they're under 12,
I think, well, yeah, yeah. I think we both do that in our office too. And I think
yeah,
it's worth it with kids because especially for the parents now to be able to have one pair of shoe, in school, one pair of shoe back home, and the managing those shoes now it's
yeah,
such a big deal. So that's a great thing to be able to have 2 pairs that are the same. Actually, that's
right.
a good thing.
And the fact that there's no top cover, the kids can get them wet, and it doesn't matter.
So overall, your cross experience transition has been going pretty smoothly, and you've been doing good with that.
Yeah, very positive experience, both like personally, professionally, I guess, as well as from the patient's point of view. Yeah, I think it's been very good. For
right.
for a lot of
What?
people, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
Did-
What? Go, Phil.
Sorry. Does people begin to talk about it? I mean, do you have patients that come to your clinic now that say, "Well, my friend has that tiny piece of orthotic, and I never had that, or can I have this?"
Yeah, that happens a lot with husband and wives. One will come in and then get the orthotics and happy with them, and then after a while, then the other one comes in and they want the same.
It kind of make a publicity for itself.
A lot of times it does, for sure.
Are you working? Do you have? Are you working by yourself? Do you have any other podiatrists working with you in the clinic right now?
No, it's just me right now.
And are you planning to have people coming to work with you so you can, I don't know, show them a different way to do and what would be the future and orthotics?
Certainly, I'm certainly open to that kind of setup.
Okay. Well,
Been working for 31 years now, so
wow. Oh, you're young. Look,
it's going to be time soon.
No. Keep biking. That's good. Keep you in good shape. That's wonderful. Oh, well, great. Now,
Yeah.
I know our experience with you, and Phil has been I would say your mentor and guide through that adventure. We just have great positive results, and happy to know and to hear that the patients are doing good and you're liking it, because it's always, I was mentioning at the beginning, it's always a big switch to go from one thing to the other thing, and to go through it and to learn and to manage that, because like I say, you're out of your, like mentioning, your comfort zone.
And to believe that maybe you can do something better for your patient and have great result. So that's very, like I told you many times, it's you have to be very proud of yourself that you say, well, let's go, I can do something different and
Yeah.
help my patient even better.
Well, I've always, liked to have the technology and, have that cutting edge. And I believe the cryovision system does that as well.
Well, thank you, Tony, for sharing your experience with us, and we'll talk pretty soon.
All right.
So
thanks for having
take
me,
care.
guys.
All right. Thanks, Tony.
Bye-bye.
Bye.